You're going to have a Nautilus casting Nautilus ult on you. It's like Guma does not get to play.
And that's the big problem for T1 here. You see how much dive there is from G2. I love the fact they've decided to go for this all-in composition. It's taking the fight to T1.
Invade there.
Oh, Mickey. Kerry is there. Mickey tries to dredge line away. The charm moots him in place. And I don't think Mickey needs to burn the flash here. He knows he's done for. Burst
really
blood.
Nice job here in the early stages from Yike. He gets the top crab, immediately move bot, gets bot one, covers there on the mid play for Caps 2. And now you're in a position where you've a bit of a nice 8 CS lead for yourself.
Zenith played in. Kerry's going to have to flash away. Hans Summer. One more adoration for Hans Summer.
Top side, Broken Blade wants to try and push a little bit first.
I mean, Zeus has flash, has the explosive cast. Hans has both his summoners as well, but Hans Summer continues to put axes into the back of Zeus. The cleanse away from Hans, flashes forward. Zeus flashes away, will get the slow with the cask. Hans now in the middle of the minions, doesn't have a ward to place. Zeus can open up and Zeus finds it. A solo kill for the Gragas. Meanwhile, in the top lane, a hook's gonna land onto Owner. Broken Blade looking for the stun, root goes down. As Yike Mickey.
Nice little punish there, but G2 still going to get those top side grubs.
I think the important 80 carry.
I think the play on towards the top side though really helped out G2 obviously because they do force T1 away, which then gives them void grubs. Yeah, G2 spotting that carry was up there. Broken Blade now trying to force Owner away, but I think it's more of a
Barney. They're looking for a fight here. Mickey looking for that hook. Owner stepping forward, eats an axe. Caps and Mickey standing around the side. Caps low mana. They go into Carrier. Paranoia. There's the shockwave as well. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, Broken Blade's going to look to try and keep Zeus around. One already over as Yike kills off Carrier. Owner's killed Caps though. And now Yike has to run from Faker and Gumayushi. Owner's so low in the pit. He gets two. Hans Summer will answer with one. Cleanses away, but he's not going to be able to get too much more here. He can get a second. Gumayushi able to win out the fight in the end. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, much ado about
suppression coming through from the Skarner, locking up two members of G2, making sure that Caps couldn't have any real follow-up damage. Yike ends up going so far to finish off the initial kill onto Carrier, then he can be focused down by Faker and Gumayushi, and Mickey is just trying his damnedest to help out Hans to a little bit.
So TPing away from bot as well. Broken Blade giving up the ghost on that tower. Zeus going to get hooked in here. Still has the explosive cast and the flash. It's more Mickey acting as a distraction as G2 try and rattle their way through this tower. They'll take the second turret of the game, and they continue to push forward here. 5 grubs helping them out quite a lot in taking these towers quickly.
Yeah, and the price, of course, that they are going to pay is not only the push on the opposite side, but the Dragon #2 here for T1, which Owner's able to clean up. Faker does not have teleport.
Already used. Zeus caught out with a counter-strike, though, and Zeus is met with the whirling death. The curtains open, Hans Summer's winning for G2. T1 do have those 2 Drakes in their pocket. As Owner secures the Rift Herald as well. There's a possibility of a dive. It does not work out for DK yesterday. We'll see if T1 have a better affair as there's the suppress immediately. They lock them in. The shockwave coming out as well as Broken Blade tries to survive. The tower will dive, but Caps is low. Faker diving forward with the paranoia on him, and Mickey's going to be the first to pull G2. All hail the retreat. Try to get the hell out of here because T1 are hungry for blood. Faker will find another as T1 find 2 in the bot lane die.
On his win rate with this champion, with how he's playing, he's just been
TP behind. Faker doesn't have flash, doesn't have Spirit Rush. Carrier's going to try and keep Caps busy. The top lane and takes another tower.
I think the next thing you have to look to for G2 is you're really worried about your... You get one more level, you actually get a nice range boost on your ultimate, but...
Solar Flare. Yike puts up the shroud. In goes the stinger, and down onto the backline goes Yike. Looking for that paranoia. Mickey knocked in as well. Gumayushi has to flash away. The whirling death coming out from Hans Summer. And Faker's on the flank. Carrier chased out by Broken Blade. There'll be one. Faker trying to get onto Hans Summer as well. Lands the charm. Owner's there to help. The cleanse from Hans is not enough. And now it's a 3v4. T1 advancing again. Gumayushi was able to escape. Faker has another Spirit Rush. The charm goes wide. Yike and Caps alongside Broken Blade able to keep on to their lives right now. Zeus, though, can look for more. Broken Blade stepping forward into the darkness. Rift Herald pushed in the mid lane. That's going to take the tower. And it's only a Chem Drake. The T1 really care too much about it. G2 realize they can't fight around it anymore, and they'll back towards the bot lane.
The cask again from Zeus, splitting up that fight perfectly in favor of T1. It looked a little dicey for Gumayushi as they had to flash over the wall, but T1, these team fights consistently going their way.
And this one is a very burst heavy, but it's also very far ahead. Oh, never mind.
Into the shockwave, they look for Gumayushi. He doesn't have the flash, and they will find him. Another hook's going to land onto Owner as the chase continues. Zeus coming in with the explosive cast, though, and G2 have to be careful because TP coming in from Faker. Mickey dodges away from the explosive cast, pulls Carrier in. The charm goes wide on Summer. Still cleanses just in case.
So that Nocturne Orianna combo.
Solar Flare onto Caps. Faker going in with the charm, only hits onto Mickey. Cut and Call coming out as well. There's the Impale, and Mickey's just dragged in a double counter-strike into the Shockwave though, and Faker is down. Explosive Cast will separate Caps and Hansama from the fight. Zeus on that front line, 3 items strong, and he's trying to use them to their full effect. Owner down to about half HP, Zeus low as well. Hansama trying to open up on Gumayushi, who still has
The damage to fight this.
G2 with no ultimates. Broken Blade dashing in here, jumping across that wall. Owner they're trying to smite the Drake, would be soul for them. Counter-strike from Broken Blade. Here comes Zeus. Flash, Zenith Blade. They look for the engage onto Hansama, who has to flash away himself. Caps is down to half HP. Broken Blade jumps across the pit. And now Mickey's here to bolster the defenses. Faker on his way back doesn't have the teleport. The Drake secured Chem Soul. Now for T1, G2 begin to back away from the fight, realize they don't really want any more of this action. Yike slowed up though, a hook goes down, only onto Owner. Caps knocked back! Zeus finds him! And now Yike's running for the hills, locked up with a captive audience. Yike down 2, it's a Baron. Broken Blade looking for the flank, no flash on him, but does have that Grandmaster's Might. Mickey looking for the engage, but realizes pretty sharpish that he can't go for it. Still charmed up, Spear Rush forward by Faker. There's the curtain calls as well, and it's curtains for Mickey. Carrier takes him. And T1 take the Baron. They are in firm control of the game as Hansama's overstepped 2. Hansama's down 2. T1 6k ahead, a soul, a Baron, and maybe more of his Broken Blade's charmed. And T1 continue to collapse. The jump away from Broken Blade will keep them safe for a moment, but T1 are knocking on the door.
Dude, Zeus is just the GOAT.
He's MVP, holy moly.
He is such a playmaker. You think of the God of Lightning with him, but, you know, God of the Kegs in this game. Really, really impressive. Game number 1 here so far for T1, and after the Baron push, already taking...
To engage, they did have a little bit of vision. A TP coming in. Zeus will be the one on the front line, Faker will be the one on the back, but Zeus immediately locked up. You can see how much damage he can tank. Faker going in with the charm, it goes wide. Zeus almost falls to the whirling. He's alive, and he still has the locket. Faker dodges away from the hook, Zeus going back in, and there's your contribution. Mickey falls, the shockwave from Caps. All it can do is buy him a second to wait. The flash charm from Faker. It's all done, it's all over. But the Nexus falling, T1 are gonna go 1-0 up.
Zeus can do no wrong. TP's in to what should have been his death, but instead it's T1 killing G2 and taking game number 1.
T1 may have limped through summer, but this is Worlds, and they are here to stay.
Broken Blade and Yike trying to do anything, but they still have the Impale, the suppression afterwards with the Edge of Ishtar, the chase onto Yike, the explosive cask, and as you say, Zeus godly with his placements today. The Nexus towers fall, and T1 will go 1 game away from Paris and quarterfinals. Mickey gets a kill.
Worth. Nexus for.
That's what Mickey was using a lot of the time.
And this is just so all-in dive. It is so threatening. Again, even in Champ Select previously, we're like, wow, it's probably going to be very hard for Guma to
burn that flash, but Mickey.
Oh, Faker goes in with the Spear Rush, the charm landing as well, and Mickey is done for. First blood in the first 2 games. Mickey dies, Owner takes the kill.
Those next round of Void Grubs.
It's interesting because Broken Blade doesn't have teleport, but Owner's actually heading towards Broken Blade rather than the Void Grubs.
Yeah, he's looking for this play down towards the bottom side. Broken Blade flashes immediately met with a fist in his face. Broken Blade trying to get away from this. Obviously, has to try and escape from Owner, who flashes forward. Another Vault Breaker. Broken Blade trying to dodge it. Owner holds it forever. Owner finds another as Broken Blade can't escape his clutches.
There was no escape there. Owner waiting over the wall. Broken Blade tried to sidestep it, but good call from Owner, just hold on. But still on the opposite side, Void Grubs galore. And it will be, I imagine Zeus starting to put a bit of pressure here to answer for some of the third places. Faker, no way he catches Mickey again.
You put everyone on pause when you said that. Everyone's like...
Oh, Mickey looking for the hook here. So Yike can come in with the paranoia. There's the depth charge as well. The chase forward. Kerry has joined his mid laner. Faker flashes away. The ignite ticking on him won't be enough. There's the stun into the shield of the Wraith. Daybreak into the solar flare into the death of Yike.
Kill Mickey. Now it's kind of the reverse situation, and Faker did get that little, sight of Mickey. So good vision toggle by the observers.
And then the engage comes through from Mickey, and it's a nice setup. Carry here to try and help, but oh, bot side.
Oh, Zeus flashes away. He's hit with a house. And Caps and Broken Blade find a kill. Carrier's looking to collapse here as well as Gumayushi, but this tower is already quite low, down to One plate remaining on it. Carrier going in with the Zenith Blade. Gumayushi there with the Deadly Flourish as well. Broken Blade still pretty tanky though. Yikes here to join the fray. Has the Paranoia. Can't go into Guma, but there's a flash and a barrier on that AD carry, making it a little bit more suspect to go for the dive. Mickey and Hansama are starting to collapse, and this will be first tower over to G2.
Faker even dropped off that top tower, trying to move down to this. Go back and forth thanks to these plays.
Still, I think it's a hugely beneficial kind of response from G2.
Because will he escape? You can see it on the minimap. The Counter-Strike finds him alongside the cease and desist, and Broken Blade doesn't have a hope in hell of escaping this one. Zeus leaps on his face and takes another 4-1 now to T1.
It's interesting that they have such a bounty on Broken Blade's head, it feels like. Not in a literal sense, but they've got a target on his back. T1 keep on going for these assassination attempts onto Broken Blade. It's almost like when they gave up the 6 grubs, they were saying, you are not going to have a split pusher that can use these. We're going to make sure of it, because while we did give up the 6 grub buff, you know, we killed Broken Blade when we did that, and then we're going to keep looking for kills on him and try and really put that Gnar behind, to the point that Zeus is going to be able to control side lanes. Faker is going to be able to
Another
get
charm
hits.
hits once again. Mickey thought he was safe in his own jungle, but there is nowhere safe from T1. And this is the moment in the game, in game 1, where we saw T1 begin to explode it away from G2's grasp. You can see already 2,500 gold ahead. Now with the Rift Herald charging through mid, they're going to open up the map and make it so much more tricky for G2 to do anything. Charm wide there by Faker, but he's just creating space. The Solar Flare hits. Hansama has to burn the cleanse, and Zeus is on the flank. The counter-strike, Hansama flashes it. Rift Herald charge forward. Zona can jump across that wall and look for Hansama. Yike with a fear, only onto Zeus. They're looking for the damage. The Shockwave will find him. Hansama surviving up towards the top side for as long as he can in the face of Ona, but now he's down and Carrier's down alongside him. G2 find 2. They lose their mid-tier 1. Can they find any?
That you need to try and leverage yourself back into this game. You have the Nocturne delivery. We'll see if they're able to make something. It won't be now, because of course they're splitting and trying to grab tower first.
I think it still will be a little tough for G2 though, because Caps has gone for this more defensive build. Up and in towards the Zhonya's first means he doesn't really have that big firepower. I think it's the correct way to go, because there's a lot of threat here with the dive from
the flash. Caps goes one way, Zeus goes the other. Now he tracks back, knowing that Caps is there. The Paranoia coming out as Mickey and Yike look to collapse. The flash away from the shockwave from Zeus is gorgeous. And once again,
They definitely have some really good looks here.
BB's just finished his Mega now and he's gone in.
he still gets the Gnar into the wall. The backline, Gumayushi flashes away. The shockwave, I think, maybe a little bit early there as Broken Blade is forced low. Spirit Rush forward by Faker as T1 begin to collapse. And Mickey's burst on the menu again. Faker with a Spirit Rush across the wall. Sure, the G2 hadn't snuck towards the Baron to try and take that away, while T1 were getting themselves to 2 dragons in this game.
Timing really has been the biggest advantage for T1. I feel like not only the defensive
Push in mid, catching out G2, and now G2 trying to move in mid, but they could get collapsed on from behind.
There's a pincer movement brewing here.
teleport.
See the TP behind that.
Faker.
Faker. Counter TP being used by Broken Blade. Curtain Call coming in as the stopwatch is used. Dion onto the backline, jumps Gumayushi, a good shockwave as well onto Zeus. And now we see Hansama having to try and get away from this. Ona going in as he puts the damage down onto Caps. Ona flashing away. Zeus the same. The killer instinct from Hansama gets Zeus in response. Now Faker diving around the fight. A hook coming out. Broken Blade trying to get into the Mega Gnar. He'll jump on their heads. Gooba stopped them. Faker escaping. Carrier slammed into the wall. On the top side, Yike killed off Gumayushi. And G2 somehow find a fight.
Only Faker gets out alive. G2 are going to get some extra money with the tower mid, and Faker just barely does so. Broken Blade hunting for him, but he's not going to find the hiding spot.
I love the not using the shockwave, but immediately they do. Paranoia in, Faker down, Solar Flare onto the backline as well. We see Hansama falling forward. Mickey trying to get into this fight. Broken Blade on his way across as well. Carrier, Ona there as well with Gumayushi trying to get away. Doesn't have the flash. Ona doesn't. Carrier goes back in with the Zenith Blade. He's a sacrifice. A sacrificial lamb for G2. As there's 2 more on the board.
Or are they going to try and get control of the mid wave first?
Mickey looking for the hook. There's the charm. Deadly Flash going in. Ona looking for that back line. The Solar Flare hits 2. Paranoia coming out. Ona can't go in with the engage. Zeus now locked out. Pops the stopwatch to buy himself a little bit of time. He's feared though. The shockwave hits onto Ona as he looks for the engage. Goes in with the cease and desist. The Guardian Angel still sitting on Ona's shoulders. Will bring him back to life. Broken Blade with a good double Gnar into the wall. Ona trying to get back in with that shield from the Vault Breaker. But he will fall. Baker can't escape Broken Blade. Gumayushi now trying to dance his way away. But the eyes are on Carrier for G2. They're looking for one more. Gumayushi will have the fleet, will have the move speed from this Jhin. Broken Blade chucks a house out, can't quite land it onto Guma's back. Caps with the dissonance, there's the slow from the red buff. They dodge the captive audience, and Guma's down 2. An ace for G2.
A G2 Baron.
You said it in game 1, Kobe. G2 great at fighting.
The Oriana ball moves in towards the bush, then sets up for that big shockwave as well. And it's after that, again, just moving back, buying space here as BB.
They can get so many rewards. Tier 2 tower doesn't stand a chance. That's another 800 gold for the team, immediately picked up. Void Mites from their 6 Void Grubs spotting out.
Faker being forced back to the fountain, has the flash, has the TP, but G2 are trying to open up the base. Owner looking for that flank. His GA not back off cooldown yet, about half the way forward. Inhibitor tower and inhibitor for G2 in the top lane. They take a gold lead for the first time.
This top side trying to shove in. They sent Ari to try and help him out, so looking to go for that cross map. Just G2 though, dropping, only playing off of 2 waves. Now the recently
providing so much threat. So we'll see here. You even have another stasis built by Hansama. It's just so durable for G2. They're just bullying them.
Solar Flare, Hansama dodges, only gets slowed. Broken Blade goes in with an arm only onto Owner. Zeus is TP'd in behind, and he dives onto Hansama immediately. And Hansama has a stopwatch, but he doesn't have much life left afterwards. He manages to get away with the killer instinct, and Mickey and Caps are only down. Owner face blasts the wall this time. Broken Blade left it to his own devices, and T1 clean him up. The flash in from Zeus with a counter-strike. Mickey trying to dredge line his way out of this one, but Faker's on the chase, as is Carrier. And Mickey, those hooks are sending you to Davy Jones's locker. Faker will take it. T1 will take the fight.
Mickey is gone 6 feet under, but G2 cannot fathom how T1 have got in behind them so consistently. It was a delay played on the TP. It's a delay take on Mickey because 50 seconds until Dragon will deny a lot of control to G2. But T1 again,
look at him.
You can see Mickey's only just getting off towards where the red buff is. The paranoia comes out. It's Guma that secures the Drake. They're looking up towards the top side. Zeus caught out with the paranoia, gets the counter-strike, but there's the fear as well. The killer instinct coming in from Hansama as they look to catch out Zeus. The rest of T1 trying to come back to defend their top laner, but Zeus will be down before they can get there. G2 find one. They lost the Drake, they lost the soul, they go mid, Kobe. They can hear your call. G2 knocking on the doors of the Nexus now is T1 trying to defend.
Shockwave is still up and available for Caps. You have to be so careful as T1 as you try to defend this. How much do G2 want to try and take super minions on the top side as well?
It's so big. 3 inhibitors here. You're gonna
get into this pit, and he might be able to snipe this away. The curtain's open. An encore for Guma Yushi. Owner gets into it! And he takes it! Owner will pay the ultimate price for his ability to steal the Baron. He keeps T1 in the game. The tankiness the minions get from the Baron buff, they'll be spawning in a few seconds time for T1. There they are. They'll help them defend. Faker goes in. Death charge. Shockwave. There's 2 knocked up, but Zeus is already on the back line. The Gnar coming out from Broken Blade as well. Zeus is doing so much work. Caps down. Hansama running for his life. Faker charms up Broken Blade. Zeus is just ripping through G2. Faker survives on the backline. Yike trying to do everything he can. The paranoia will help him take out his enemy jungler.
Zeus now stepping forward. Nobody willing to hit him. G2 push back.
Behind is Faker. He's looking for the Spirit Rush. It's up in a second's time. Faker's met by Yike. Mickey on the front line. The Shockwave going out as well. Broken Blade lands the Gnar, but doesn't get a stun onto anyone, and G2 disengage. He's going to match the supers pushing in the top side. G2 have control of the river right now. Solar Flare, Hansama only slowed. But Caps is the one they dive into and immediately assassinate him. Caps is swimming with the fishes, and Hansama is going to join him. T1 immediately pounce, and G2 don't know what hit him.
T1 are forever clutch.
Can you do it? We saw you steal one versus Hanwha live. He puts the Dustbringer over the wall and immediately backs away.
Onto Caps' head, even with these defensive items we keep pointing out for G2, the Guardian Angel and Sterix for Yike, the double
title.
A minute left on this Elder Dragon as well means that 2 more waves that you have to try and hold off. But I don't even know if you get that. Team 1 can just start to look at Nexus turrets off this wave.
It's got to be something miraculous. You've got a GA on Guma Yushi, you've got Faker with the Spirit Rush, the curtain's open. I don't think G2 is getting a second act. The dive onto the backline by Yike, but immediately he is low. Caps already assassinated on the back, and T1 are just ripping them to shreds. T1 absolutely melting G2 under their Nexus towers. History doesn't repeat itself, but it damn well rhymes. It's another Friday. It's another T1 win.
Hey, look at the explosions. Oh, there's the Ezreal.
Ezreal.
Okay, so that was the other, part of the AD carries I was mentioning earlier about you can try and go for the survival tactic in these cases, and Betty is a very good Ezreal.
Not having that flash available for that combo is going to be a bit sad.
Flash in onto On here, doesn't have the exhaust and a flash of his own. Zenith plays onto Junja to try and get himself away. Exhaust on the Sejuani, not the target you want. Jun trying to join the fray. Elk having to cleanse flash away as Jun is now caught with a shadowing strike in PSG.
Yeah, for sure. PSG just going to be able to get these Void Grubs no problem. And if you look at the domino effect of some of those plays, guess what a mid-prio for Yone could turn into? It's more ganks on bottom side. Jinjia could go down back bottom side, as well as possible Maple roam. So there are a lot of good things building up towards consecutive plays, since not only On used Summoner Spell.
Not where BLG expected to be. It's kind of where PSG expected to be, as Betty should be able to go away here. The Zenith Blade going in. Betty trying to trade back onto Elk. On went in with the Zenith Blade himself. Doesn't have the exhaust up. Now he's taking the Magnet Storm coming out as well. And what is On doing? Looking for the engage, thinking Shun would back him up, but he was left to his own devices. And in the end, he's left to his demise.
Well, the thing is, one of the players that has been involved in some of these Worlds winning rosters was Junja, and he's keeping it going.
Goes in with the Glacial Prism. The cleanse was available for Elk, and he holds it. The bullet time opens up. Jun going in with the Cyclone, looking to make a Tempest. He'll take one. Junja falls. Woody trying to get the CC onto Shun to keep Betty alive. Jun holds it and dies in the end, trying to flash the time to take a Drake for themselves. They know they can then go across and even try to catch Night Out, who'll get the Blast Cone. But
after he left the LPL and came in towards the PCS, this guy was an absolute beast, and he's only continued to show up. Has the cleanse for anything that On has, then has the Arcane Shift and a flash for so much of what BLG are trying to bring to the table.
So Maple gets the first move, can look for a flank here with the Fate Seal, dashes forward, unbinds his soul, On down to half HP. The Solar Flare goes in with a bullet time, and that's two locked up, and Woody's the first to fall. Maple was distracted by Knight. Betty dashing back in between worlds. Knight can look for more. Maple dives in with a Fate Seal, but BLG will happily take the triple.
So many members of BLG collapsing.
Shun cleared out the ward. See On his way up as well. TP coming in as PSG. Well, they're not going to do anything to help out Azure here. He's dead. Knight takes it. BLG, and they should be able to take this one first. Maple trying to match, as you say, on the bottom side, but BLG with the TP in. Invests a lot to make sure they take the first turret, and it does give them that gold infusion that they were looking for. CS down, as expected, in a ranged into melee matchup in the top lane that was left to its own devices, but he's only about 250 gold.
Mid to cover that mid lane play, so it's a nice read from PSG, and Knight just not wanting to give over that little bit more. We'll just stick in the bush. PSG are still holding on towards mid. They have push on bot, so it kind of was like a Hail Mary.
Tier 2 here, but they might sacrifice their tier 1 in mid for it. Elk opens up on the tower, takes it, and the tier 2 will be exchanged. BLG deciding that they couldn't defend anyway, and so they want to make sure they open up the map.
And it's not a bad idea. You do get 2 towers there for it, so at least it's something.
True.
But
down this Animal Farm route, I feel like the mid lane towers are quite important as well. Now that PSG have managed to get Shadow Flame, 2 items on the cannon, Bin will TP to the control ward down towards the top side of the fight. Jun is in the pit. Azure is behind them. There's a control ward there. Betty putting damage into the On right now. Jun going in with the Cyclone onto the backline. Finds Maple, but doesn't find Betty. Azure and PSG will disengage the fight. Jun has to flash the wall, but he's locked up with his Fate Sealed. Bin now in the pit, trying to battle against Junjun and Maple, but BLG are all retreating.
In the last team fight, they divide and conquer. Can they just get this objective?
Bin uses the Hex there to see the information. Woody diving in, and he stops Elk from putting on the bullet time. The slicing Maelstrom on the back line as well. Knight's in the pit, but Maple puts him in the dirt. Bin now going in for a little bit more, but kind of like the counter strike onto Maple. Another is down. On has fallen.
Control of the entire rift right now.
And they got the stun as well onto Elk, who has the flash and will use it to dash away from any follow-up engage. Jun going in with the Cyclone, trying to make a Hurricane rip through PSG. They'll find one already. Jun stunned up. Azure flashing away from the Solar Flare. All the while, Betty and Maple.
Their performance, where they didn't look as clean as they possibly could have, but here.
Cyclone again from Jun. True Shot Barrage coming out from Betty as well. Between worlds, Jun just locked up in it. He'll flash across. On falling low, 200 HP on him now as Betty looks to open up. Fate Sealed, the slicing Maelstrom coming in too. Jun's down, Bin's down, On's down! And BLG are up. It's only Knight and Elk left alive. Can they defend against PSG? The TP is going to come in from Azure. The bullet time to clear the wave. And that might just be enough. There's another wave on its way. 10 seconds from hitting onto the inhibitor tower. 27 seconds on Shun. Knight starting to back away. One inhibitor seems to be the prize PSG get for winning that fight. Elk and Knight will try and defend at the Nexus Towers, and PSG probably won't push for more. They don't invest the TB from Azure. They will retreat after finding that inhib.
They're the ones that have to pull out the surprise play.
I think a lot of people forget that this was...
behind.
Oh, hang on, TP.
Behind. Woody's going to be engaged on here, but On is now in the meat grinder. Maple goes in with the face sealed, and Azure is just waiting for his opportunity to open up. Bin's taken one. The slicing Maelstrom will find another, though. Betty being chased out by Jun. He'll flash away. Jun dies to Betty, and Betty survives. Bin diving in onto Maple, who can unbind his soul and then dash back. Junja trying to keep the dragon aggro for now. Maple put into the dirt by Bin. PSG still have 2 alive. Elk's going to try and keep the dragon aggro, but Betty can do a lot of work from a lot of range right now. Elk has the bullet time coming up in 7 seconds. Junja trying to heal himself back up in the jungle. Elk there makes it rain. Bin going to try and get for the reset. Elk still full HP. Bullet time, no flash, no... Well, it has the flash, but no cleanse. Bin TP's in. Junja's looking for it. And Elk finds one. The shutdown, he'll find another great cleanse from Elk. Junja able to survive, but Bin will take the Drake, the soul, not quite. But PSG. On MF, because you have that strut on. That solar flare was a mile wide. On gets caught with the Glacial Prison, has no flash, has the exhaust, will get away for now. The world's between is Woody trying to escape, but he's just burst out by Elk. Those 4 items coming to the fore for BLG. A Cyclone onto Junja, who has the flash as well. The bullet time comes out, the slicing Maelstrom, as Bin is trying to dive across them. Betty and Maple, the only 2 left alive for PSG. Maple will flash, but the bullet still...
Bounty gold, both objective and champion, going the way of BLG. Huge.
That tower down, mid lane turret is taken by BLG. The gold swings in their favor for the first time in a long time in this game.
I think there is an angle for PSG, though, to create pressure on this top side. You already look at where Maple is.
Here, Junja able to dodge away from On, puts the Glacial Prison back in him, down to half HP. The Mystic shots from Betty, and On is off. Betty now locked in the pit with Knight, but do you really want to be locked in there with him? The TP in from Azure as well, looking for that slicing Maelstrom. Remember, there's no exhaust as well, because On is down, no flash for Azure, but the Drake up, and Soul on the cards for PSG if they can find it. TP behind by Bin, as they're looking for the pincer movement. PSG trying to get the push through mid, through Maple. Bin still looking for that flank. Woody's going to try and mark him. They see him, the counter-strike goes in, the bullet time as well. Azure's ripped to pieces. Fate sealed from Maple isn't enough. Bin diving onto Woody, and that's 2. Betty forced away, has to dash away from Jun, and Bin is just doing so much work on the back line. It's a double for Elk. The flank sublime from BLG.
At the end of the day, it's Bin Jax in back-to-back dragon fights. He gets the job done, and with the Baron buff, BLG are inside the base.
And it just helps out Elk so much. The bullet time is perfect. The flash away from the Yone ult as well. Elk needed to be that follow-up and damage, and he's putting PSG down.
It's Betty's time to shine. He opens up on Elk, who tanks the tower. Bin going in with a counter-strike as well. They'll just take one Nexus tower for now, but Betty gets the slow. Knight goes in, and Betty dashes away. He can't survive the weirding. Puts him 6 feet under, and now BLG will open up on the second Nexus tower. Woody going back in, looking for Bin again, but Bin somehow still survives. PSG wiped away under their Nexus towers. Azure spawns just in time to watch the Nexus fall.
Jay Scott, but never really had a strong foothold. You only saw like very small instances of it. So I do like, you know, pulling it out here. Gives them the possibility of that double poke.
Oh, there's already 49 stacks left on it, so he's over halfway towards completing it. But because of the way that they then push the lane out, see Junja actually getting caught here as Jun going in for the engage, On with a great hook, and Junja falls for first blood.
And to your point, Medic, this is what Prime BLG looks like. This movement from On, constantly shifting around the map, holding positions so then he can get out and work his magic. And now Maple is running, hoping that he can find some sort of way to teleport out of this jungle, but short of magic or a miracle, I think he might be done for.
And he gets clipped as well by the accelerated shock blast, meaning an execute is no longer an option for Maple. Shun should be able to chase him down, who dash across the wall with a flap, flap, flap. Knight still chasing here, Glacial Prison used just to make sure that this dragon is going extinct alongside his buddies. Knight will secure the kill. His second is the one that I really want to funnel it on.
You got to point it somewhere else. Yeah.
Try and get some on Maple, who's about 700 gold behind in the mid lane and maybe more, as there's the flash engage from Shun. Maple down again, and Shun solo queue recently and in ARAM, but Kobe, do you want to elucidate why he may have gone this?
Well, it's obviously because of the world song, Heavy Lies the Crown, and it's a crown.
Also, if you can't get a murder book, you need a murder crown.
Oh, so we see Shun getting caught up here. PSG trying to fight it. Bin going in with the counter-strike. Woody misses, but gets the charm, doesn't get the knock-up, and now he needs to get the hell out of there. Depth charge onto Ginger. It's another for Knight. He's stacking the hubris. Put them back under the ground. Knight finds
kind of, 1-for-1 on trades for ultimates and flashes used there, with Woody investing everything. Maybe that can open up a place for PSG to attack. It's so difficult because set up with a teleport. Maybe they...
So Betty has no Featherstorm, but does have a cleanse and a flash. On's trying to get on top of him to get the staggering blows down. They're going to land the dredge line onto Woody. Right? So you get stronger through the course of the fight, through your hubris, which is probably why around this bot side to keep this tower alive. Maple's here as well. Shun is going to meet him. Impale lands onto one. The dredge line short from On. Elks, though, still looking for the plate. There's one minion still alive. On will now tank up the tower, and Woody will have a grand entrance and give On a grand exit.
I mean, that's actually big. Any bit of gold that PSG can get at this stage in the game could be very big for their dream of team fighting their way out of it. And Shin is going to be able to execute no problem. Does get all the way into enemy territory, so no further benefit gain there, but still, even being able
back across the wall from On to rejoin with his teammates. PSG are looking for that fight. Ginger very tanky with the Zeke's convergence. Maple still stacking up, sneezing all over BLG. Woody looking for that flank, has the quickness, has the flash in a couple of seconds. They engage with the Glacial Prison. Featherstorm coming out from Betty, quickness from Woody. They're looking for On, but the depth charge will lock him up for a second. On now sacrificed by BLG. As PSG managed to find a kill. Bin still pushing in the bot side. Jun being chased out by Aja, but doesn't quite land the stun into the wall. Jun just still looking for Elk, who has the cleanse, but goes for Knight instead. Pulls him back. Where's the damage? It's Aja right now. The keeper's verdict is that Knight is guilty. His hubris has been his downfall as Junja puts him 6 feet under.
There's no way BLG had the correct timer on Aja's teleport, I feel like. They kind of...
The silver lining of getting bot tower was just answered by top for PSG. Now, BLG will get this tower, but you can already look at bot side and see that PSG are going to trade as well. So what had been a good start for BLG is really starting to disappear as Aja now solo under the tower. This could be a bit of risky play.
He has the keeper's verdict in a few seconds, still has his flash. Betty trying to come across as well. He's met with Knight. The accelerated shock blast doing a lot of work. On looking for that turret. TP coming in from PSG as they look to collapse. On not tanking the tower yet, has that concussive blow. Steadfast presence coming out. There's the quickness. It's only onto the tank so far, but On's the first target. Glacial Prison coming down as well with Slow Maple for a second, but Junja's here to join the Barney, to join the fight. PSG find another bin, is being pinged to hit that mid lane tower, but there's still a couple of seconds before he can get on it. Betty's going to try and answer him. He has the demolish and 5 grubs. It will be enough to take the turret.
But it's the exact same thing again. Not really sure how they want to approach this. Aja has his teleport up, but he's still going to run there. Terra goes down, and now if this Poppy shows on the wave, Jace TP's in.
There's the TP in. Aja can TP as well. Will answer with one of his own. BLG moved up as 4 for now. Bin's going to join them. Junja trying to get in towards the pit to take the Drake. On locked up. The Blade Caller coming back as well, and Junja will land the smite. But Woody goes down first. Shun and Bin, the next 2 targets. It's support for support so far. Aja still looking for a little bit more. Knight trying to put the damage down from long range. That's what we talked about with this composition, their ability to poke, but in this fight, they haven't really had the opportunity to do so. Junja can look for a little bit more, chucks a rock across the wall and hits. Knight in his back. PSG trying to open up towards this mid lane tier 1. Elk and Knight here to defend. There's another wave on its way, though.
Yeah, I mean, Jace can try and poke, but you've got 2 fat tanks in front of you. Can't really get the damage around them. Forces the flash with just the raw Skarner ultimate.
With the last whisper in his inventory. Maple still sacking up a little bit slow as the hook goes down onto Ginger. There's the double impale into the grand entrance, but the charm coming back with the quickness into the Blade Caller. Look at the CC. Look at the suppression on BLG. And look at the flash forward from Betty. He tries to get onto Elk. He can't quite get the damage down. Elk somehow survives through the burn, through more. Behind. Elk not here. Knight the first target. Azure locks him up for a second. On going forward as well. Azure still trying to chase Knight out. Bin here to join the party as On flashes away. Keeper's verdict on Bin is that he needs to come back in a couple of moments. He's going to TP behind them here, but perhaps PSG have a moment in the 4v5 to really open up. Mom comes down, the Featherstorm used as well, but Bin finds the 4-man stun on the back line. El cleanse cleanses away the Blade Caller route. And once again, it's Gigabin absolutely styling on Fools.
BLG. I'm sure their fans were not worried at any moment in any game in this series.
BLG once more.
And the important thing for the Poke Comp is to be ahead of the curve in terms of items, in terms of damage, and that's exactly where BLG are now. 6,000 gold, their lead. They have 3 items on Knight, they have 2.5, almost 3 on Elk, and just constantly putting damage into the backs of PSG.
And every comp with a Bin Jax is just a Bin Jax comp as well. Yep, especially if you have a Sejuani, but he's over 2,000 gold ahead now as well, working on the Frozen Heart, so he can be a tank in the middle.
On looking for the hook here onto Azure, goes in with the depth charge as well. He's impaled, the quickness on the backline, but already BLG have taken 1 kill. It's 1 for 1 so far on, and Azure falling. Betty having to pop the Featherstorm. Bin is Bin, baby! Already we see Elk killing off Betty. Bin looking for a little bit more as Woody dashes out of the fight. Bin wasn't even really needed, just forces PSG away. Now the tier 2 in the bot lane, the target for BLG.
There's a nice attempt from PSG, but Bin on the flank sets up for BLG to take the fight. Now he's back on towards mid, and he's healthy as you like.
April has hit that execution threshold, and looks like PSG are trying to collapse onto Bin. No flash for him, no way out, you gotta feel. Goes back in with the counter strike. Who needs a way out? This is Ben we're talking about, and then he dashes away with a leap strike. Game in the early game until FlyQuest really began to take it away. They're still looking for more here, though, as Ginger goes in with the Impale. The quickness coming out as well is stopped by the depth charge, but Knight is locked against the wall, and Bin, even he can't rectify this situation, can't bail them out. The Blade Caller back onto On, who has to flash away himself. Elk now joining the battle, a double counter strike as the engage goes on to Azure, but BLG have only found 1 so far. Betty's on that front line, no Featherstorm for him, and Bin finds it again. I doubted him for a second, but he makes you believe that Jax is the most OP pick in the game. It's Bin again to clean it up for BLG.
Bin decimates PSG Talon, and with that, they will be bowing out of the World's Championship, but for BLG, it's only 1 more step on what is a long road ahead of them.
BLG are looking to get to 2-2, to challenge for the quarterfinals, to continue to level up as they defeat PSG and go to the next round.